I love going to work and working full time and still not being able to afford a house.
How did we get to the point in the United States where the average family can't afford the average home?
If you're doing everything right and you still can't afford a house, it's not just you. The housing market is just broken. And for most people, homeownership is just becoming further and further out of reach.
I just need somebody else to tell me that they're living paycheck to paycheck and putting themselves into credit card debt out of necessity, not because of fun. I am 20 years old. I work a decent paying job. I love my job. I make good income. We have no kids, me and my fiance, and we're still barely scraping by. Our bills are paid, but we can't save any money. We can't go on vacation. I mean, we do little things here and there, but realistically, we don't really do anything. And we still live paycheck to paycheck, okay? I don't understand how people with kids are doing this. Props to y'all. I mean, seriously, the utmost respect, because I feel like I'm drowning and I only have cats. Any money that we're able to save ends up getting spent on the car, or the cat has to go to the vet, or one of us has a medical emergency. Like, it's just gone. It's gone. I don't understand. We don't live beyond our means. Are we all just collectively putting ourselves into debt because I don't know what else to do?
Hey, so I just got a raise and my utilities went up 8%. Wow. So hopefully your raise was more than that, but chances are it was not. Yes, I'm 31. I never thought at this point in my life I'd be living paycheck to paycheck. Nothing left over. No savings, no debt paid. It's the worst. Yeah, it really hits you hard when you are a bit older and you're more middle age. You thought you would have achieved a bit better financial status, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, and you're not making any of your financial progress. That's a tough place. I literally pick which bill I will sacrifice for the month. Hopefully you pick a good one, because not your internet bill, that would be awful. These comments are so validating. We're afraid to talk about it, but this is so validating. Yeah, I mean, there are so many people that are struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. Everyone kind of feels it, but not a lot of people are brave enough to talk about the financial struggles, because it feels so shameful, to admit that you're not doing as well as you'd like, or not doing well at all. There's a lot of shame involved in that, especially when you see everyone around you is living their best life on social media. You see their vacations, their new cars, their houses, they're decorating. And then you're like, well, do we get these groceries at the store, or do we get to buy some new winter clothes? Like, we have to pick sometimes. I'm 35, a single mom, and I'm an RN making $34 an hour, and I'm paycheck to paycheck to 5 days before my paycheck. Wow, that is so tight. I'm making the most I have ever made, but the brokest I have ever been. Make it make sense. One word: inflation. Inflation has caused everything we buy, especially the most basic things, to feel like they are completely sucking us dry. Like, buying groceries used to go from like an average grocery bill at $500 a month, and now it's $1,200 a month. That's inflation hitting where it hurts the most. Girl, I got paid on Friday and I have $16. How was I living more comfortably making $16 an hour 5 years ago than I am making double that now? We are now slaves to this country. Oh my gosh. We are indentured servants to the United States of America, because guess what? We have to buy food. We have to buy insurance, both health and auto insurance. We have to have a place to live. Guess what? Even if you do own a home and you pay it off, you still don't own it free and clear. Yeah, you don't have a mortgage, but you have property taxes. Guess what? And that's thousands of dollars a year. Thousands. You never don't have a house payment, ever. 40 hours is the new part-time. America is broken. Gosh, I know it feels like it. A couple going to a restaurant once a month off of 2 income shouldn't be a luxury. Boomers had date nights, family vacations, a house, 1 to 2 cars, etc., all off 1 income. There's no justifying how far we've come from how our parents raised their kids and how our parents face life in their middle ages. They had it so much, I'm just going to say, better. Like, for one, look at how they spent their money. They had a mortgage, and They likely had it at less than 25% of their pay. They could save up for vacations. A lot of them had pensions where they didn't have to worry about saving for retirement. Now, guess what? Nobody has a pension. So if you ever want to retire, you have to save that. And that's a significant portion of your pay. 15 to 20% of your pay every year automatically gone because guess what? You can't work forever. Then you have the comparison between how they spent their discretionary money is so different. Like our parents and grandparents got to spend their discretionary money on luxuries, vacations. They get to upgrade to a nicer car or upgrade to a nicer house or spend more on their kids, buying them technology and the newest gaming console, or got to just spend a little bit like in what felt like luxuries. Whereas today, fast forward 30 years, and where all of our money is literally gone just by buying the basics of life. You have housing, food, and transportation. Your money's gone. Like housing is, for most people, nowhere near 0.25% of their take-home pay. Literally in the last 5 years, the average home in America, if you were to take out a mortgage 5 years ago versus today, went from about $2,200 a month to over $4,000 a month. That's double in 5 years. So how are you going to say that that's not completely crushing the rest of your discretionary spending just by your housing, let alone cars? You know, the average car payment in America today is like almost $800. I think it's like in the 700s, but still $700 or $800 for one car. Every family, if they want to have any decent chance of having a good financial life, both people have to work. So you need two cars. And with cars inflating, good luck finding a decent car for under $20,000. Everything is more expensive, but not only that, but people today are spending a disproportionate amount of their money on non-discretionary items, housing, food, transportation, and really what's left is minuscule in comparison to every other generation that's come before us. So you can't really fault people today for saying that they're spending poorly or they're not budgeting or they're not working hard, because there's just not enough money to cover everything. Unless you have owned a home for more than 5 years or your income has been lucky enough to really outpace inflation, you are really struggling right now to live anywhere near the same life that you lived even just a handful of years ago. Not to mention, but just look at what this young woman said about her credit card debt and the ability to not be able to cover the unanticipated things that come up. Think about like a doctor visit or a vet bill, or, you know, if you have a flat tire, like things are so expensive that, yeah, you may be getting by paycheck to paycheck, covering all the inflated prices, but good luck being able to then account for all the unexpected things that come up. And what so many people are doing today is that they are racking up insane amounts of debt just to be able to cover the things that, you know, you should be able to cover with an emergency fund, but you can't get enough ahead to be able to save up for that.
Okay, so I'm just checking. We're all unable to buy a house right now, right? Like, I'm not the only one who runs the numbers every single day and looks at the budget and is just like, there is no way on earth that this is potentially feasible for me. Like, I'm working with two very average incomes. They're not great incomes, but they're fine incomes. Incomes that 10 years ago probably would have meant that we could buy a house. I digress. Anyway, we pay rent so that we can live somewhere, because when we got out of college, we had to rent so we could theoretically save money to eventually buy a home. Except rent is so astronomical that we are actually not able to save for a home. Even still though, like, we don't pay as much in rent as I know other people do. We don't live in a huge city. It's somewhat affordable, even though I still think it's ridiculous. Compared to other people, it's still affordable. Okay, so subtracting that from what we bring home a month, like, yeah, there's still some money left. Except that somehow, no matter what I do, because we've cut back on everything, we've cut back on groceries, eating out, we haven't actually traveled in a while. I have a freaking coffee machine at home, so I don't buy coffee out of the house. I will admit that we do get avocados, but we do get them from Costco, so it's less expensive. We both work from home, so we shouldn't be paying that much for gas, but yet somehow we are. I'm going through my credit card statement at the end of every month, and I'm literally spending $20 here and there Like, there are no big purchases on this credit card, but the groceries are killing us. But we also have to eat. We can't not eat. We need to put gas in the car because sometimes we do have to go places. But like, I can't figure out where this is coming from. Like, we're not huge shoppers. We eat at home most of the time. Compared to other people my age, we do not spend money on alcohol or drugs. I don't freaking Uber Eats or Grubhub or anything. And I don't want to sound ungrateful because at the end of the month, we are able to save something, right? But it's not nearly enough to save up for a down payment on a freaking house. And if we did decide to go that route, it would take us, I calculated it, like 12 years of just doing absolutely nothing with our lives, like just staying at home, doing nothing. And I'm not willing to spend the next 12 years completely restricting myself for the dream, the possibility of a dream of getting to buy a home. Like, these are the best years of my life. I want to live them. And even if we did that and we saved for 12 years and we put a down payment on a house, we could not afford a nice one. Our mortgage would still cost more than my rent currently. So I'd essentially be paying more for a shittier living situation than I have now. And I feel like everyone's in this situation. And so my question is, like, if we have babies, which it seems a lot of us are not willing to do that right now, which I totally understand. So if we have them, like, I feel like we're just going to see children raised in like communal living more. More families are going to have to make do with smaller spaces. And I think we're just going to see that because people acclimate, people are flexible. Because I'm genuinely not seeing a way to get this done without like completely derailing my life. Because I got to keep paying bills. I got to keep paying rent. I got to keep eating. I got to keep going places. And if I'm doing that, I just can't save that much money on the side. I love it here. I love it here so much.
Wow. She had some good points there. The avocado thing really got to me because like, when did buying avocados become a luxury? That's just so funny. This is me. Exactly me. Yeah. This woman is representative of like, I don't know, at least 80% of the population because she's being so real. She's like, we're not doing anything that unusual. Yeah, we buy groceries and probably like some healthy stuff too, because why not? Like, you want to take care of your bodies. You want to be healthy, don't you? So is it really that bad to buy fresh fruit and some fresh vegetables and maybe, you know, some nice meats a few times a week versus like just frozen foods? But she's really not doing anything crazy. Like, oh, we work from home. We don't drive that much, but when we have to put gas in the car, it really hurts. And we look at our statements and nothing is really a big expense, but everything's just adding up. How do people save 20% for the down payment? I wish I had rich parents. Yeah, you don't actually really have to have a 20% down payment. I've bought, like 4 houses and I haven't put 20% down on even one of them. You really don't have to have it. Really, what's important is that you put down what you can, keep some cash as a cushion, and then just make sure the payment's fitting in your, affordable pay bracket. So as close to 25% of your take-home pay as possible. You can stretch it up to like 30%. I think the banks will let you go a little higher. But really, if you get much over 30% and up to like 33%, then you add in all the other home expenses that come along with maintenance, insurance, and taxes. Those probably included in your mortgage payment. You will start to likely feel house poor. And trust me, you don't want to go there. F that, live your life. Same, no car loans, barely any credit card debt, save for a down payment, and I make over $100K in Southern California. And I'm getting outbid in bad areas too. Like, what? $100,000 in Southern Cal is not that much. Likely is going to have to start making more competitive offers if she really wants to get a house. I feel this in my bones. Yeah, it's like it's visceral, right? Like, you're just so frustrated because you feel like you're doing everything that anybody's ever told you to do. Budget, stick to your plan, buy as much, at the grocery store as you can and not go out. But what's hitting this woman and a lot of other people is like the death by 1,000 little paper cuts. Like, it's all the little stuff, the $100, the $200, the $50, the $300. And you add all that up and it's maybe thousands of dollars a month. And it's getting harder to afford when it all is added up together. Even if you did nothing for 12 years, the houses will be even more out of reach by then, unless something happens, of course. I feel this so much. I told my husband we need to find another way to be happy besides having a house and kids, because I don't know if that'll ever happen. That is so sad because a lot of folks have talked, recently in the last 10, 15 years about the birth rate is declining in America. And with it declining so much, if it weren't for immigration into the country, America would actually have a negative growth rate. And so if people can't literally have kids because they can't afford them, and the average household income is where it is today, and we know where it is today, and it's decently grown over the last 30, 40, 50 years, right? I mean, at least you've added a second income to most households, so we know it's grown. Then we know that there's one piece of this puzzle that's not fitting, and that's the price of everything. The price of goods, the price of services, the price of housing, the price of food that we consume is unsustainable. And so something has to give. Either prices have to go down, which they're not likely to do so, or, income has to go up. Or we're going to live in a perpetual economic crisis that will only end one way, likely in a recession.
If you make $150,000 a year, you should be able to afford a $2,500 a month mortgage. $2,500 times 12 months of the year is $30,000. So you'd be spending $30,000 on your housing. That means you'll have $120,000 left over. Okay, now you're like, well, healthcare, taxes, deductions, $150K is your salary, not necessarily take home pay. Okay, so let's say after your mortgage is paid, instead of $120,000 you have left after the $30,000 to pay for your house, you only have $60,000, $70,000 instead of $120,000, right? Depending on healthcare, tax deductions. You're telling me after your house is paid off, after you have a roof over your head, you still have $70,000 worth of yearly expenses? What else are you spending your money on? And if that's the case, then you're spending too much money on stuff that probably, okay, and I like spending money on stuff too, travel, whatever, but you should be able to comfortably afford to pay a $2,500 mortgage on $150,000 a year salary.
It really depends on debt and childcare. We spend about $36,000 in childcare and an additional $24,000 in student loans. So an extra $60,000 between childcare and student loans. And for example, you have no money left. You can't eat. Good luck with that. My husband and I make over $200,000. Kids are older adults, and we live in Indiana. I still would not even consider a $2,500 mortgage. Nope. If someone making over $200,000 a year can't fathom a $2,500 house payment, something is incredibly wrong with this math. She has no kids in the house. Her maybe book nerds, discretionary spending is through the roof because, let's just say she's making, close to $15,000 take home. She can't afford a $2,500 house payment. That's ridiculous. I have no words for that, really. I agree with you. My husband makes $160,000 a year, and our mortgage is $3,000 a month. We are able to save every month and live very comfortably. Let's just say you are one of the few that can make that math. More often than not, people choose to live outside their means. Yes, people are spending in excess of their means, but what is likely going on is that they're spending maybe lavishly in a couple of areas because they are coping with their lack of financial fulfillment in what they're doing. Their job is not fulfilling them. They're not feeling that they're making career progress. They are working a dead-end job, disappointed with not being able to save for retirement, which is a major expense, or they aren't building in a savings fund. So what are they doing? Maybe they're spending a few $100s a month to go out to eat because guess what? You have to have some pleasure in life to make everything worth living. And this is one area that is not going to completely, destroy them, right? It's not like they're going out and buying $100,000 car. Maybe they are. And I'm not saying that those people don't exist, because they do. There are people that spend extremely lavishly in every aspect of their lives, and they're way overstretched. But the people that we've seen in these videos today, I would not say that whatsoever, right? They are paycheck to paycheck, and they are buying groceries, hardly not eating out. They are budgeting, tracking their spending. They're being cognizant of what they're buying. They're literally doing 8 out of 10 things perfectly. And so if they were to want to go out, once a week to a restaurant, should that really be that big of a deal for them? If they're making $100,000, $150,000 a year, should they not be able to spend $500 a month on, entertainment? Just again, think back, and I'm not saying the dollars are the same because they're absolutely not, but think back to you growing up. We all knew growing up that times were different and felt different. Like there's a reason why family meal nights are a tradition and kind of like have their place in family values today. It's because we literally grew up kind of celebrating the tradition and routine of going out to get pizza on a Friday night with our family, or, going to a buffet on a Tuesday night, or, you fill in the blank for whatever you did growing up. But I know for me, and for others that I know, these were very normal middle-class behaviors that people did because they had the flexibility and the freedom to do so. And it built up the quality of life. So it's incredibly difficult to go from being a child, being raised this way, to then being an adult and then getting your adult job that likely makes more than your parents did, and not being able to live even in the same socioeconomic class that your parents did, even though you're making more, right? Like that's the thing. The classes that we are bracketed in now, income-wise, if you grew up middle class and you now make more than your middle class parents did then, there's a very good chance that you are no longer middle class. You may be low middle class, or you may even be low class based on where the prices of things have gone and the index value of your income. We make $150,000 a year, but we sure as hell don't see that after taxes. I wish we had that to spend. The moment I saw this woman, I kind of felt like she was sounding like the female version of Dave Ramsey. Her calculations just kind of had what seemed like faulty assumptions in there for me. Like it's kind of like she's twisting the math to try to math where, if you're a little more realistic with your take home pay after everything, not just taxes, you really don't have enough to afford this $2,500 house payment. And she's like, you should, or you're just spending too much. Like you're a bad budgeter. You're like not worthy of having this because you don't know how to spend your money. That's kind of the vibe I get. For real, like, does she not even realize what house payment, what kind of house could you actually even get for $2,500 a month? The average price per home in America is like $400,000, and at interest rates between 6 to 7% right now, there's no way you're getting that for $2,500. So not only is her math not mathing, but even if it were, you're literally buying a below average home for what we're considering $150,000 household income. This all goes back to what is our expectation of what we should be able to afford versus reality. The unaffordability of the housing market is, I think, really driven, as we all know, based on the rising cost of homes, plus the crazy interest rates that we have right now. You couple those together, and what feels like it should be a thing that an average middle class household in America making $100,000 to $150,000 a year should easily be able to buy a middle of the road, all American house, but it's just not matching up. So what we're actually seeing in reality is high income earners are actually the ones that can afford the run of the mill middle class $400,000 house. So you have your high income earners buying your average homes. What are the average income earners supposed to do? Are they supposed to buy lower quality homes? Those don't really even exist. Why is that? Because guess what? Those are all being bought up by investors and hedge funds and turned into rental properties. So reality is stating that if you aren't a high income earner, you're not eligible to be a homeowner right now. You are going to be a renter. That's just reality. So I would suggest that you don't fight against that grain. If you absolutely want to be a homeowner, then you're going to have to check 10 out of 10 of the boxes, including cutting back on your spending in areas that you don't feel the best about doing. Shop at a discount grocery store versus a, upper end grocery store. Shop at, Walmart to buy clothes instead of the mall or, your trendy stores online. Like, you're going to have to make decisions that other people are not willing to make, and especially other people at your income bracket, because you have a goal that doesn't fit reality. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it's fair, but this is the current reality we live in. So either you accept that and you make the best of your life as a renter, which you can have a phenomenal life as a renter. There have been many periods of my life that I wished that I was a renter again because, we had appliance repair, or we had, something break in the house, a pipe, and we had a water leak. Like, there are things that make owning homes not the most fun. And there have been times where I wished I was a renter because it allows you to pick up at nearly a moment's notice and move across the country if you want to, which you can't just do that as a homeowner because you're tied down with this house. So, maybe see the positives in your life as a renter, your ability to have more flexibility, your ability to have a steady, rent. And if your landlord wants to hike up the rent, then find another place to live. There's always going to be somewhat of a competitive market in rentals. And if your price goes up, move. Whereas, like, my mortgage can go up every year, and it's not like I'm just going to sell my house because my property taxes went up $1,000 this year. So I hope I've been able to show you where the misalignment in today's housing market really comes from. It's coming from our expectation not matching the reality of the market. And unfortunately, that is just the way it is today. I hope it changes. I hope things get better and that more people can live the American dream and own a home if they want to. But I don't know that it will change. If you're enjoying the video so far, please do me one favor, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on homeownership versus renting. If you're a renter, how you feel about it, good or bad. Love to discuss it with you in the comment section below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.